Hi everyone, it's Morgan here again, and now I would like to share with you one of my new favorite recipes. So lately I've been playing around the bakery trying to create some wonderful tasting sourdough using of course some fantastic Australian ingredients. So here, this bread here is a very special bread. As you can see, I have Jimi Hendrix there on the side for you. Now this one here is a toasted black barley, fresh milled, with cranberries and orange zest. Now I've used blood orange zest for today's recipe, and of course it's made with sourdough. So I'm going to talk you through step by step how I made this wonderful bread all the way up to decoration. Please follow and feel free to make any comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can as I go. So the first thing you're going to need is some flour. The flour I'm using here is Providence Flour and Malt Lancer flour. It's quite a high protein, around a 13% protein flour, and I'm using 800 grams of this. Now I'm also going to be using 200 grams here of the black barley. Now this black barley is growing over in Western Australia. It's really good for you, has lots of health benefits. And what I've done is I've actually toasted it. You can see it here. This is the black barley here. And I've toasted it in the oven for about 10 minutes. And it fills the bakery with this really strong aromatic smell. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it here into the mock mill. So this is a mock mill. It's available from Van Roy down in Melbourne. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And you can mill pretty much almost anything in this. So this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the grains in the top. Of course, you need to have a bowl ready on the bottom for you, and it's going to make a little bit of noise, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. You can adjust on the side. The smell here, wow, it's amazing. So that's how easy it is to mill this black barley. It smells like coffee. So if I come closer here to show you, it's a really aromatic smell. I really can't explain it. I recommend that you get your hands on some of this black barley and have a taste for yourself. What I'm going to do is I add it here. So I have the flour, I add the black barley inside, then I have some cranberries as well. You can soak and wash your cranberries before you use them, of course, just to stop any kind of pesticides or anything that might be sprayed on top of your cranberries, which might retard your dough. Then, of course, using a zester, I zest my orange. Like I said, I'm using blood oranges today. And, of course, I have my sourdough. So my sourdough, I put in around 20% sourdough and around 2% salt as well. Now, of course, you can do an autolyse, which is where you mix the flour, the sourdough, and the water together, leave it for around half an hour, and then add the other ingredients. I add the cranberries last because I don't want them to break up inside the dough. So once I've mixed all these together, I then end up with a dough that looks like this. So this dough here, I mix, and I've actually been leaving out to ferment, so I've left this for around 4 hours in the bakery ambient temperature just to ferment, to get some growth inside. And now we're going to scale it using the trusty scales here. Just move this to the side a little bit. It's very important when you're scaling that you remember how big your Dutch oven is if you're baking at home, or depending on what you're trying to make. So for example, these ones here are around 500 grams. And always allow a little bit extra weight because you have the cranberries inside as well. So we're just going to scale these ones. Then what I always do, if I have some left over, rather than throwing it away, I always just add it to the other doughs like so. So now I have these, I'm going to do what's called a pre-shape. So a pre-shape is where you are shaping it before the final shape. There's different ways of pre-shaping. Some people like to go in like this, then around, and then just a little finish to make it round, you'll see. The pre-shape, you do need quite a little bit of firmness, but not too much. Like so. Okay, around again, like so, and again, like so. So once you've made these a pre-shape, you would then cover them with plastic, and then you need to leave them for about 1 hour on the bench. Okay, that's to let them relax. Today, we don't have an hour, so I'm just going to shape them directly for you, just so you can see how we shape them. Just give me one moment. So what we're going to need is, of course, I use a couche. A couche is a cloth that has, it's used over and over again. You don't need to wash it. You do need to keep it dry. And of course, I use some rye flour on my couche so it doesn't stick. You can also, of course, shape into baskets or bannetons, like you wish. So now for the shaping, there's all different ways of shaping. We're going to need a little bit of flour on the bench. We pat it out, like so. This is the easiest way that I find to shape. You fold down first, down again, and then you close with your hand. So you're using the palm of your hand here to close the dough. Rock back and forth a little bit, and you'll see you have a nice batard shape. There are other ways of shaping. Like you saw before, some people like to do this where you fold in, like so, then you come down. That is also another way of shaping. You'll find that that will give quite a firm dough as well. So like I said here, if I left these out for 1 hour, they'll be much more relaxed and much easier to shape, but just for the purpose of today, it's just to show you. And then to get the points on the ends, if you want the points, you just push a little bit harder on the ends and you can get a point, or you can tuck it in and make them nice on the side. I have one more here. Now you notice I haven't put them onto the couche yet. That's because I have one more step that I want to show you today. So once I have these like so, all right, and now what I'm going to do is I have here prepared earlier, I have here some poppy seeds. I put them onto a baking paper so then I can pour them back into the container afterwards, and I have a wet cloth here. What I'm first going to do is I'm just going to dip half of it in. So I dip half of it in the wet cloth, and then I dip half of it into the poppy seeds. So there you have the half-half contrast. So once again, I just dip half into the cloth, half onto the poppy seeds, like so, and then I'm putting it onto the couche. So once again, half onto the, like so. The last one. Like so. So then I put these down here. Finished with that for today. And once I have these now, I put these into, I have a prover here, so I'm very lucky. So I will put these into the prover chamber at around 8 degrees to 10 degrees overnight for 12 hours. So I recommend if you have a fridge that you can turn up a bit warmer, that would be a better idea. Or you can leave ambient, but just pay attention. The warmer, of course, it is, the more faster they are going to prove. You want to at least allow 12 hours fermentation. So I also cover them with plastic, put my cloth over the top, and I leave these for the 12 hours. As you can see, the bread's here, fast forward 12 hours. They're very nice, they're nicely proved. We're going to put them here onto the baking paper. I recommend we do one at a time for this. So I have here a stencil that's been very nicely cut out by a friend of mine called Patrick Indo. He has a very nice Instagram. I'll put the link into the comments. And as you can see, I'm also using, once again, some rye flour. So I place the stencil just onto the half of the bread that doesn't have the poppy seeds on it. And I'm just going to lightly dust the rye flour over the stencil. If you haven't seen, I posted a video before just about stenciling, just to give you guys some tips and tricks. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we're going to put the second one on, here like so. Have the stencil, place it gently on top, and then using the rye flour, just going to stencil nicely like so. Then I take off the stencil. Okay, now I'm also going to make a cut. So I have here my blade. I'm just going to cut the line exactly where the poppy seeds stop. So I just cut across the top and then open, cut across the top. I do a little butterfly cut and open. We're going to bake these in the oven now at around 220 degrees for around half an hour. If you're using a Dutch oven, put inside a Dutch oven with a lid on top for around 20 minutes. Take it off for the last 10 minutes. Just pay attention, the cranberries can make it a bit sweet, so it can bring a bit of a darker coloration, but in the end, you can have a wonderful, beautiful, tasty bread. I'll take some pictures and post them up for you. Thanks for joining me today, and happy baking, and I wish you all a wonderful, safe weekend. Ciao.